WrestleMania 41 is officially in the books, and we have a lot to talk about, which we typically do after every WrestleMania that there is, but this year in particular. I think a lot of expectations were set really high given the incredible WrestleMania that we got last year for WrestleMania 40, and the entire build up to WrestleMania 40 was one of, if not the best, road to WrestleManias of all time. And this one, quite literally, just felt like it was a roller coaster. Because you had some very high highs and some pretty low lows. And I feel like that the show itself kind of resembles how the road to WrestleMania 41 came to be. There were some very high highs and some pretty low lows. So, we are obviously going to recap all the matches from WrestleMania 41, give my thoughts and opinions on it, and try to make sense of some of the decisions made. And before we get too far ahead in the video, I want to say that if you are a WWE fan, consider subscribing to this channel, because that's all we post is WWE related content. We are obviously going to start off with the match that kicked off WrestleMania 41, Jey Uso defeating Gunther and becoming your new World Heavyweight Champion. Now, the feud itself was good. We've seen it before, so we all kind of weren't really looking forward to it simply because we have seen it relatively recently now. And things just were not going very well. It felt like it was very stuck in the mud and just wasn't going anywhere. That is until Jimmy Uso got involved, and that's when the story really started to get good. Because we saw Jey Uso finally start realizing how important this is and how serious he needs to be taking it. Meanwhile, we had Gunther, who was starting to feel like Gunther should, and that is the mean, scary dude that he is. Now, as for the match, I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a good start to WrestleMania 41, and I liked the fact that Jey won without using a super kick, basically. And quite literally, Jey threw pretty much everything that he had at Gunther. We saw Jey using a power bomb, using splashes, using spears, using some super kicks in there. And ultimately, it took him 3 splashes to finally put Gunther down after he started choking him out. Now, I will say, my one big takeaway that I was not super happy with was how fast Gunther tapped. I thought they really could have drew that out a little bit further because it didn't necessarily make Gunther look weak, but I think it would have added a little bit more to the win. Gunther, with kind of the relatively quick tap out, just kind of didn't really look very good for Jey Uso. Even though I know he threw everything at Gunther, but still, it just didn't really hit with me a lot. But ultimately, I do think that both guys did look very good in this match. And I said it the second Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble that he needed to win this match for it to at least make sense, and now it does. And now we can look back on Jey winning the Royal Rumble this year and maybe thinking a little more cheerful about it. Up next, we have the new Tag Team Champions, The New Day, taking on the War Raiders. And this match was actually a super fun match. It was just a good, fun match. It was high energy, it was fast paced, it was everything that you would want in a tag match. The only thing that bothers me is that it should not have been on WrestleMania. And if WWE took the time to build a proper story, build a WrestleMania worthy story, this match would have been a lot higher on a lot of people's lists. But because the story just was not there, regardless of how good the match was, a lot of people just didn't really care for it. So this one's going to be short and sweet and to the point, but again, it was a good match. The story just was not there for people to really sink their teeth into, like what should have been on the card this year, and that being the SmackDown Tag Team Division. Next up, we have Jade Cargill defeating Naomi. And I thought that this match was awesome. Both Jade and Naomi looked absolutely incredible. The one thing that I noticed is a lot of people were talking about the sheer amount of reversals that were in this match, and the more I thought about it, the more it made sense, because these were 2 former teammates at one time. So it makes sense that they would know each other's moveset, and they would be ready for a reversal. And I loved that little detail. I thought it showed their history in a way that not a lot of people may have picked up on. And a heel Naomi has a lot of potential because I really think that Naomi has found that thing that she was missing all along since she made her return, since she originally left. I think she's found it because ever since she has turned heel, she has been awesome. And I think a new theme obviously helps a lot because her old theme was just kind of meh. But this heel Naomi, I think, has a ton of potential to do very, very big things in WWE moving forward. And as for Jade Cargill picking up the win once again at WrestleMania, her first singles match on WrestleMania, I thought she looked absolutely incredible. Moving on to the new United States champion, Jacob Fatu defeating LA Knight. And the crowd, I think, really, really helped this match. It was a good match. It was a great back and forth match that they had. And I said it in my preview video that I was very, very split 50-50 on who I thought could win. I really thought that we were going to get Solo Sikoa interfering and possibly costing Jacob the match. But instead, we just got Solo coming out to the ring with him. And he didn't even come all the way out to the ring. He just came out with him on stage for some weird reason. But nonetheless, Jacob Fatu absolutely looked like $1,000,000, as he normally does. LA Knight had a very, very strong match as well. And now we just wait and see what the next play is. Is it going to be Solo versus Jacob? Is it going to be Jacob versus Solo, as we all are kind of expecting it to be? And how are we going to get there? Is it going to be Solo being jealous that Jacob was the one who brought gold back to the family? Or will it be some other reason? Regardless of what that may be, I'm very excited to see how it all plays out, because now the title is on Jacob, and now I think we can finally start getting the feud between Jacob and Solo, and I think a match at Backlash is very much on the table between those two, providing that is the play moving forward. Next up, we have El Grande Americano making his WrestleMania debut, taking on Rey Fenix, who was filling in for Rey Mysterio after Rey Mysterio unfortunately got hurt on Friday Night SmackDown. And I thought that this match was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was a fantastic showing from both Rey Fenix and El Grande Americano. As we continue to see El Grande Americano impress us in the WWE, it was a good lesson for WWE fans who may not be all familiar with Rey Fenix, that Rey Fenix is just as good as Penta is. So I thought it was a massive opportunity for Rey Fenix, and I thought he absolutely delivered in every way possible. And again, I thought the match itself was fantastic, and especially when you consider the fact that they had to pivot last minute with Rey Mysterio's injury. We know that it does happen, and WWE does have to pivot with their stories and their matches, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think this absolutely worked. Up next, we have Tiffany Stratton winning and retaining her women's championship against Charlotte Flair. And what felt like a messy feud resulted in what felt like a messy match to me. Now, there were some things that I liked about it. I liked how it kind of got off the rails a little bit here and there, where the shots they were giving looked pretty legitimate. And while the match wasn't anywhere near as good as Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley was at WrestleMania 39, I didn't think it was the worst match possible. But there were just some little things that just really felt kind of off and, again, messy. The one thing that I did notice is the fact that Charlotte Flair used Stephanie Valquer's move, and that, to me, I didn't think got enough discussion. Because as we know, WWE loves their long-term storytelling, and they love planting seeds for possible feuds moving forward, and maybe this was one of those scenarios. Maybe we see Charlotte Flair go to NXT, take on Stephanie Valquer, and who knows what happens from there, or maybe they're planting the seeds for when Stephanie eventually makes her way to the main roster. We'll have to obviously wait and see on that, but for the time being, Tiffany Stratton retains her women's championship, and I think it was a massive, massive moment for Tiffany Stratton taking down Charlotte Flair. Up next, we have, in my opinion, the best match from WrestleMania 41, and one of my favorite matches of all time. The main event of night one, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. The story in the ring was told absolutely perfectly. All three really brought their A game, and they all three looked like they legitimately wanted this to be the best match of the night and the best match of WrestleMania 41. And again, in my opinion, it was. I love that we got Seth Rollins trying to get Roman Reigns to team back up with him, and ultimately Roman Reigns not wanting to do it. I loved that we saw them going through the crowd a little bit. And I thought the ending was absolutely fantastic. The GTS into the spear, into the stomp, and Seth Rollins coming out on top with the help of Paul Heyman. Seth Rollins being a Paul Heyman guy is something that I did not have on my bingo card, and I know that it was floated around out there on the internet, and I even mentioned it in my preview videos that it could quite possibly happen, and it did. Again, this was above and beyond the best match of WrestleMania 41. And again, I thought everything was done to absolute perfection. From the in-ring stuff to the storytelling throughout the match to the twists and turns with Paul Heyman, everything was perfect. And that to me is why it is one of my favorite matches of all time, a match that I'm going to go back and watch so many times. I may have liked it a little bit more than the main event of night 2 from WrestleMania 40. That's how much I loved this match. Moving on to night 2 of WrestleMania 41, and we started off with a bang. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and the still defending champion Io Sky. I thought this match was amazing. Not only was it an amazing start to night 2, but it was just so fast paced, and you could just feel the energy and the anticipation and the crowd building with them wanting to see Io Sky win, and then them wanting Rhea Ripley to win. And then we got them booing Bianca Belair once again. And Bianca really did feel like she was the heel in this match. And Bianca and Rhea beating the absolute hell out of each other, and Io Sky being able to get in there last second and steal the victory away. I guess I shouldn't say she stole the victory by any means. All three women absolutely showed up. Similar to the triple threat from night 1, it was arguably one of the top matches of the entire card. And again, similar to what we saw between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk, I loved the ending of this match as well because we saw Rhea Ripley attempting a riptide before Bianca reversed it, trying to hit her with the KOD, which she did, which made everybody think that Bianca was going to win, which no one wanted to see, only for Io Sky to come out of nowhere, land the elbow, pin Bianca Belair, which I think is important, and retaining her Women's World Championship. Moving on to the Sin City street fight between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. And I thought this match was a good match, but I feel like they could have gone a little further with it. And don't get me wrong, while there were amazing spots, the extreme factor of what a street fight is, I wish they could have done more. I wish they would have gone out into the crowd and we could have gotten some really cool moments with them in the crowd and some cool spots involving some out of the ring stuff. And to me, it just didn't really feel like it was a street fight. It felt like it was just an Extreme Rules match. A street fight to me is what we got at Payback 2023 with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Finn and Damian. That to me is a street fight because we saw a ton of stuff in that match. And I get it's a lot more easier to do in a smaller environment like Payback was, but I just still think they could have done more between it. And especially with it being built up as this just pure hatred of a feud, it just didn't really hit for me. Again, I'm not saying the match was bad. I thought the match was good. It was a fun match. And I loved the ending of Drew using the chair to hit Damian with the Claymore, and I'm glad that Damian didn't kick out of that because recently that seems like the type of thing that Damian would kick out of. So again, I thought the match was good. I'm glad Drew won. I thought he needed the win more, but it just left a little to be desired for me. Next up, we have Dominic Mysterio winning the Intercontinental Championship against Finn Balor, Braun Breaker, and Penta. And this match was absolutely fantastic. One of the top matches of the night, and I thought all four looked absolutely incredible. You had the fun tag team work between Finn and Dom. You had Braun Breaker doing his thing and just spearing everybody into oblivion, and just Braun Breaker's so damn good at what he does. And I thought Penta, for his first time on WrestleMania, had an amazing showing. And poor Carlito. Poor Carlito. Braun Breaker with another spear, but this time a friggin' super spear, as Pat McAfee called it, spearing him from one announce table to the other. Braun Breaker's insane, and just poor Carlito. But getting back to the match, Dominic winning and pinning Finn Balor, which I think is important, because not only does it keep that story going further, but it also protects Braun Breaker and Penta. Now, obviously, I'm sure Finn Balor fans are not a fan of it, but Dominic Mysterio, seemingly out of nowhere, is starting to become a good guy. Not in the sense of, like, he's gonna do everything squeaky clean, but he's starting to get some cheers, and that's saying something considering everywhere the guy went, he couldn't even get words out because people booed him so much. So it's really cool to see Dom get through everything, get to this point, and we've all kind of seen him grow up. So again, the match was absolutely fantastic. One of the best matches of the night, one of the best matches of the entire show, period. Braun Breaker and Penta continue to impress. Dominic Mysterio gets the title. Up next, we have Randy Orton defeating his mystery opponent, Joe Hendry. And this was one that a lot of people had a lot of excitement and a lot of anticipation for because we didn't know who Randy Orton was going to face in this match. A lot of people had their speculations, Nick Aldis being out there. I thought one of the most likely options was going to be a returning superstar like Rusev or Aleister Black. Hell, I even threw Carmelo Hayes' name into the mix. But one thing that I didn't really think of was someone from TNA. And I don't think people quite understand how big of a deal it is. We got another company's champion on WrestleMania. And I thought Joe Hendry looked really good in the match. And a loss to Randy Orton doesn't hurt him in any way imaginable because it's goddamn Randy Orton. So out of all the possible choices that there were, I'm okay with it being Joe Hendry. This is another reminder of where WWE is, where they're going forward, and reminding everybody that they have that partnership with TNA now. So, while it wasn't Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens like everybody wanted, like myself included wanted, at the end of the day, I'm okay with it being Joe Hendry. I thought it was good for Joe Hendry, good for TNA, and it's Randy Orton. I'm always going to love a Randy Orton match. Up next, we have Logan Paul upsetting AJ Styles. And this was a match that if you saw my preview video, you know that I was not super pumped about this match because I didn't really feel like the story was there. While we all kind of knew that the match was going to be a good match, I just didn't really feel like the story was there, similar to the New Day and War Raiders match. But there were a lot of cool moments. I thought the drone moment with Logan Paul I thought was really cool. It's not fair just how damn good Logan Paul really is. I thought Logan Paul attempting to hit AJ Styles with a Styles Clutch for AJ to ultimately reverse it, I thought that moment was awesome. But the one thing that I didn't think about was Karrion Kross getting involved. And seeing Karrion Kross getting a moment at WrestleMania, I thought was really good. And now, as I'm sure you have all seen, Karrion Kross's kind of pipe bomb Miz moment that he had, goddamn, that has me really excited to see more Karrion Kross, and we're obviously going to get it now with him and AJ Styles. So I'm excited to see that. I thought the match was good. The story between Logan and AJ was okay, wasn't really there, but I'm excited for Kross and AJ to continue this little feud that they got going. Up next, we have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez taking on Lyra Valkyria and was supposed to be Bayley, but ended up being Becky Lynch. Becky returning is awesome. It's always good to see Becky Lynch. It just felt kind of weird that Bayley had to be the sacrificial lamb for Bayley to come back. I feel like they could have done it a couple weeks at least before WrestleMania. Because that way, you don't really disrespect Bayley, who is such a key part of the WWE roster and is so well loved by the locker room. So, while I wasn't super pumped on that, I was happy to see Becky Lynch back, and it was a good match. I thought Becky looked pretty good. You could tell that there was still some ring rust there, but she didn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination. Lyra Valkyria looked pretty damn good, as she usually does, and I thought Liv and Raquel looked really, really good in the loss as well. As for what happens with Lyra and Becky winning, I'm really intrigued to see where this goes. Perhaps maybe it's something with Bayley possibly wanting her spot back, maybe. Maybe they continue it with Liv and Raquel. We really don't know how long Becky Lynch is going to be here for. She did say in the post show that she's not going to be back part time. She's coming back full time, but we know how stuff goes in the WWE. So again, I thought the match was good. I'm glad Becky Lynch is back. I am kind of upset that Bayley kind of got shoved to the side and became an afterthought almost. But I am excited to see where Becky and Lyra go as tag team champions. Then, on to the main event of WrestleMania 41, Cody Rhodes taking on John Cena. John Cena not only defeating Cody Rhodes, but getting that number 17th title. And one thing that I absolutely loved from John Cena was his entrance. I loved that he just had nothing but a black Titantron with John Cena in super generic font. There wasn't anything special. There wasn't any special entrance from John Cena, which is exactly what this heel character is for John Cena. Not giving the fans what we want. I thought was absolutely brilliant. And it also looked really sick, actually. And the crowd absolutely was spectacular. For this match specifically, it felt like we were getting another Rock versus Hulk Hogan moment. But then ultimately we got the crowd wanting John Cena to win. Just like we got in the Hulk Hogan versus The Rock match. And the match I thought was super, super good. And I loved the fact that John Cena used heel tactics to win. I think Travis Scott ruined this entire match. The crowd was so invested in this match, cheering for John Cena, starting to boo Cody Rhodes. And when Travis Scott came in, everybody stopped paying attention to the match, mainly because Travis Scott took 10 goddamn minutes to get to the damn ring. But then everybody wasn't paying attention to the match. They were expecting something else to happen. They were expecting The Rock to show up. And when he didn't show up and Travis Scott gets involved with Cody Rhodes, John Cena comes in, beats Cody Rhodes shortly after Travis Scott gets involved. It just felt like there was something missing. Especially when you go back and you look at the main event of last year's WrestleMania, when you had Jey Uso, John Cena, and the goddamn Undertaker return. It didn't really need a Travis Scott moment, but if it was going to incorporate Travis Scott, you had to have The Rock there as well. And I was super worried about The Rock not showing up when they kept showing the commercials for Backlash, and the first thing that you saw was The Rock. That to me screamed that he was not going to be there, and The Rock could quite possibly be a bigger part of Backlash now. That's me obviously just grasping for straws because we still don't know anything from The Rock because we haven't seen him since Elimination Chamber. So again, the match I thought was a really good match up until Travis Scott came in. But that doesn't take away from the fact that John Cena did win and got the number 17 title to close out WrestleMania 41. So, this is where I want to hear from you guys, and I really want to hear from you guys on this one. What did you think of WrestleMania 41? Did it live up to your expectations? Did it fall short of your expectations? For me, I thought the show, similar to the road to WrestleMania, just had a lot of ups and downs and some high highs and some low lows. Ultimately, I think the main event was the biggest disappointment of the night. Not because John Cena beat Cody Rhodes, but because something that didn't need to happen happened. And all it did was take the crowd completely out of the match. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we got two triple threat matches, both on the men's and women's side, that was absolutely fantastic. We had an amazing fatal four-way for the IC title. So while the main event did really stink, it shouldn't take away from the fact that there were some very good stuff from this year's show. So let me know all that stuff down below in the comments. And while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. That link will take you to all of the social medias for this channel, and I do suggest going and checking out our X page. Besides YouTube, I am most active over on X. We do updates for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the PLEs. And above all else, I want the X page to be a place for wrestling fans to go and talk about wrestling, especially if you're like me and you don't have a lot of people to talk to about wrestling. So if you are like me and you're looking for a group of wrestling fans to talk about wrestling with, swing by an upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw, join into the conversation, and maybe it's for you at the end of the day. With all that said and done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Both are free and both help out the channel a lot. And if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here. As always, stay tuned for more wrestling content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.